I'm here to talk to you guys about weird art and how it connects to heroes. I'm an artist from Flint, Michigan. Anybody from Flint? Oh, all right, we got to do better. Anybody from Flint? Yeah, yep. Proud to be from the city of Flint, Michigan. Proud to still live there. So my art, I draw and I paint, and I've been doing that for a long time. And I lean on the weird. I can't help myself. And when I say the weird, most of my art is about the self. It's about the subconscious. And it's really about battling things inside the self. There's a lot of heroic acts that happen within my subconscious, much of which I'm not even aware of. And that looks like a lot of things. Sometimes it looks like a weird shadow monster, a king shadow monster in this case, that's been stabbed by white shards. I think there's some parasites. There's some teeth. Sometimes it takes the shape of like pink goop and purple parasites. In this case, tapeworms. If you've ever researched tapeworms, it's a great way to spend an afternoon. You should try it. Also in my work, sometimes there are people that are helping. In this case, my daughter is helping. And she makes her way into several of my pieces. She's holding up a piece of tapeworm. I don't think it's going to help that much, but sometimes the work takes the shape of a gorilla cave and people exploring in the Earth's core, floating orbs, more tapeworms, a lot more tapeworms, upside down kites. There's my daughter again helping. Red spiders. My wife hates spiders, and for some reason I can't even help myself. I put things in there that gives my wife and daughter the EBGBs, and it makes me happy somehow. But again, people that are seemingly affected by these spiders, and then one person kind of helping, one person kind of coming to the rescue. Sometimes I do collaborations. In this case, my friend Tunde Olanaran, this amazing musician based out of Flint, Michigan. You should check them out. Tunde wanted a surreal portrait, and for some reason it ended up also including a neck hand. I really hope neck hands become a thing. I want to keep using neck hands. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but if I don't use them, feel free to use neck hands. And then, of course, you know, frog surgeries, which I don't think there's nearly enough frog surgeries in the world. But in this case, my cousin and I, if this is a memory from my childhood, we got a frog, we put it in a bucket with a beautiful environment full of rocks and sticks, and then ran around the neighborhood and mortally wounded the frog. And then my cousin was going to do frog surgery. I don't know if he did, but if he did, definitely the frog died. So that's a little bit of what my work looks like normally. And many years ago, this guy named Matt Langdon, who I met at camp, like a lot of other people, started doing all this hero work. And it was exciting to see. And he was working on trying to get a book together, and he needed somebody to do illustrations about heroes. I actually have a background in doing caricatures, so it made a lot of sense. And so I said, I'll do it, knowing that I couldn't put neck hands in there and I couldn't put dead, ghost frogs. And so he started kind of pinpointing these heroic people that have done wonderful, amazing things in the world, and started sending me these names. My job was to illustrate them. So it started with pencil and paper. I would research them. I would try to find images of them. And then I would, Matt would send me their story. I can't stress to you enough how much of a different way of making art this was for me. Respecting somebody that I was drawing, learning about them as I drew them, and knowing that they have done such amazing things in the world. And so this is the preliminary work. Pencil, paper, pencil, paper, pencil, paper. And I even got to put in some of the people that I love and respect. And so we started collaborating a little bit more. It wasn't just about Matt giving me things. It was about me saying, what about this person? What about this person? And we ended up doing 2 books called The Hero Field Guide. No, I did not bring any because I waited too long. I'm busy. I'm sorry. But you can get them on Amazon, and you should get them on Amazon. Each one had about 15 characters. all from different walks of life, all doing different heroic acts. In this case, Bayard Rustin, one of my favorites of all time. Has anybody heard of Bayard Rustin? With a show of hands. Exactly. Still, nobody knows about Bayard Rustin. Bayard Rustin was the main person to get the March on Washington to happen. He worked hand in hand with Martin Luther King. He was taken out of the history books because he was gay. And he didn't hide it. In fact, he pushed against it and refused to hide it in the 60s. He was a peaceful protester. He worked with Gandhi's people later on in life, fought against the AIDS epidemic. Just a beast of a man. Somebody that I didn't know about at the time that Matt turned me on to was Sophie Scholl. Sophie Scholl fought against the Nazis. It's a thing that happens often in these books, is people that have fought against the Nazis. She started a group called the White Rose, spread information, almost graffiti style, and of course, was executed for the work that she did. Put herself in harm's way, and that's a story that you hear time and time again. Vincent Lingiari, Aboriginal Australian, worked against his working conditions, tried to get his land back, his people's land back, and succeeded. Mridula Sarabhai, close to my heart, my best friend's great aunt, worked with Gandhi when India was split into Pakistan and India, did amazing work within both countries to help people. Cesar Chavez, you know about Cesar Chavez, I hope. If you don't, again, fighting for the rights of migrant workers. Many of these people are standing up for wrongdoing, putting themselves in harm's way, being empathetic and selfless. Mary Seacole worked in the Crimean War, again, helped soldiers when they needed it. Rigoberta Menchú, the Guatemalan indigenous people, she saw terrible things happening and wanted to do something about it. She ended up winning the Nobel Peace Prize. These are people that I never heard of before I met Matt Langdon. It really changed my life, and it started opening my eyes to putting a spotlight on heroes. Nicholas Winton created a whole train situation where he would take kids out of Nazis' harm's way and bring them to safety. Shada Nasser, she fought against child brides. Well, she didn't fight against child brides. She helped child brides. And just did phenomenal work in Yemen. These are just a few that ended up in the Hero Field Guide. And I encourage you guys to look these people up. One of the things that happens every year at the Hero Roundtable is I leave. I've been here since the first one. I leave. I'm inspired, and I'm like, well, what can I do about it? Well, one of the things I can do about it, and you can do about it, is use your talents. In this case, jump on board somebody like Matt and say, hey, how can I help? But the other way is how can I do something practically? What happens when I go out into the world? Do I put on a suit? Do I go out at nighttime in Flint and try to stop crime? I'm not going to do that, but I like the idea of it. So I want to tell you a quick story. One day, I was late for work. I work at a place called the Flint Institute of Arts. And I pull in close to the building, and there's a woman in distress. She's obviously freaking out. And so I stop. One of the things we learned during the Hero Roundtable is not to be a bystander. Be the person that stops and helps. So I stopped, I helped. Her car was kind of smoking, and I came over to her. She had her trunk open. The trunk was smoking, and I'm like, what's going on? What's happening? And she's like, well, my uncle just put a new bass system in my trunk, and now it's on fire. This woman went so hard with her bass that it caught on fire, which is not a surprise if you live in Flint. And it was really inspiring to me. I couldn't afford the bass situation that she had, but it caught on fire. And so, I brought her away from the situation, tried to comfort her. The car totally caught on fire. It was bare bones. It was really sad. And that was it. That was the story. I wouldn't say that there was any heroic acts happening, but what wasn't happening is I wasn't a bystander. The best part of that story is the reason why I was late for work is because I was coming from the Hero Roundtable. And I did not have a choice. I had to stop. And I hope that this conference does the same for you. Thank you.